Hello everybody, welcome back to Healing After 50. I have been contemplating what my next video would be. As you all know, if you've been kind of watching, you know I'm new to this YouTube thing, and I am trying to get better about documenting and making videos. And so one of the things that my channel is focusing on is healing the mind, healing the body, and all that goes along with it. So I have mentioned a couple times in the past that, you know, I've come from a pretty abusive home life. When I was growing up, my household was very toxic and there was lots of mental and physical abuse. And so one of the things that I've struggled with most of my life is feeling feeling my worth. And so I was thinking today, because somebody came in to our store, and we do run a business. It is a fairly new business in town. We have a farm, and so we are selling our beef, and we sell some of the things that we make on our farm. You know, we make homemade soaps and skincare products, and I am an herbalist in training. I will call myself a soap maker, a tea maker, for a long time now, but I am just now taking the formal steps to becoming a clinical herbalist. And so I do have a background in the medical field, and I might have mentioned that too on some of my past videos. I had to leave my career because of health issues. And so that kind of took me out of the workforce for a while. And that's when I discovered skincare products, making my own skincare products, because I had a slight addiction to bath bombs. And when I lost my job, I had to figure out how I was going to have my bath bombs. And along the way, I was also doing some research and realized how much unnecessary ingredients are in our everyday products. And so that kind of led me down a big rabbit hole of researching, you know, skincare products. The medicines that I was on, they caused some severe infections and things like that. And so I just went down this huge rabbit hole of research and trying to figure out how could I, you know, be more natural. And again, I've mentioned in other videos, you know, growing up, my mom used to tell us to go pick the aloe vera plant when we scratched our knee or whatever. We didn't take a lot of medicines when I was growing up. And so it's not something, you know, natural is something that I've always kind of leaned on. Even with my kids, when my kids were younger, they didn't go to the doctor every time they got sick. We used natural remedies, you know. We would give them tea and different things like that to kind of make them feel better. And so it's something that I've always dabbled in, but I am now officially in school for herbalism and clinical herbalism. So with that being said, it has opened my eyes a lot to some different things that I had no idea existed. So we'll get to the nature of this video. Coming from that background, I have a hard time with customers who come in and challenge me a little bit on what we're doing here. And, you know, we come from a smaller town, and I married into the family years ago. And so, you know, I'm not from this area, but my kids' father and his family have been here for years. So they're not new to the area, but they're new to the retail part of it. And so people tend to come in and, you know, wonder, what are you doing here? And why are you here? And what makes you think you can be here kind of attitudes. And so I just started thinking today, because that did happen today. And so it made me think, I bet you I'm not the only person who struggles with these kinds of feelings. When people come in and make you feel inadequate or make you feel like you shouldn't be here, you don't belong. Somebody that comes from my background tends to cower down to that kind of approach. And I'm tired of feeling that way, because I feel like we do belong here. We aren't doing anything that we aren't entitled to do. And so it just made me think I wanted to make a video on that, because this particular person has come into our store a couple of times now and tried to, I don't want to say intimidate. The first time he was being very, what's the word? Like he was above me, trying to make me feel like I didn't belong. I can't think of the proper word. But digging through our freezers and comparing to his business now. So that day that he came in, I was so angry. I was so upset, because I felt like, people are trying to make me feel like crap for doing what I'm doing. And so today he came in and kind of did the same thing, asking me these questions, trying to put me on the spot a little bit. And then he flat out lied and said he'd never been in here before, so he was curious, about what we were about. So I don't know if maybe having makeup on today, he didn't recognize that I was the person that he was talking to previously, or what. But these are the things that I am, finding that I'm tired of it. And I feel like we shouldn't have to feel intimidated. But I'm sure there's a lot of you out there who can relate to what I'm saying, because when you come from a background of abuse and, mental abuse, where you feel inadequate, you feel that you're not worthy. And so I struggle with that in my business. I have been running my soap business now for 5 years, and I feel like I've gotten pretty good at it. I know how to make my products. I'm very knowledgeable about my products, but I still feel like I'm not good enough to be a skincare business. And so how do we handle these things? These are the things that we're learning with this, documenting my journey. And hopefully by documenting, I can help somebody else, kind of realize, hey, I'm not the only one. It's normal to feel that way when you come from a background like we do. And so I just want to help others, by showing what maybe helps me, or what path I'm taking to find more contentment in life, and finding my worth, finding out that I am worthy of my business, and I am worthy of doing what I'm doing. So how do we do that? Well, one of the things that I'm doing to tackle my insecurities is trying just to build better habits when it comes to the way I talk to myself. I'm very hard on myself. I've gained a lot of weight, and so when I sit here and I look at myself in this camera, I'm very insecure about my looks. I'm very insecure about my weight, my gray hair, and so I can be pretty harsh on myself. When I sit and see myself, I will make comments to myself, and I'm learning that is not healthy. I have to look at myself and realize I'm 52 years old, and I'm getting older. I do have health issues that make it harder for me to exercise. I have rheumatoid arthritis, and I am treating it naturally. I don't take any medications. So I have some days that are very hard for me to get up and move around, and so I've learned that I can't be so harsh on myself. I can't talk down to myself in the mirror when I look at myself and I see a fat face, or I don't have makeup on, or my hair's frizzy, because I do have very, very thick, coarse, frizzy hair. And so that's step one. Talk nicely to yourself. I do watch a lot of Mel Robbins, and at first I thought it was very silly. She does the high five habit. High five yourself in the mirror, and you might think, oh my goodness, that's so dumb. But you know what? It's really not. Because like she says, you can't think negatively when you're giving yourself a high five, because a high five has always been associated with celebration. And so I have to say, I try and follow her advice because I feel like she's got very sound advice. So step 1, be positive, think positive, train yourself, tell yourself every day you're beautiful, regardless of how much you weigh. And then another thing that I'm doing is, I am building my confidence, I guess, my own confidence, by realizing that I am very smart and I do understand my herbs and what medicines I'm making and different things for me and my family. And in our store, I do have some options in our store for medicinal teas, and I do make herbal capsules. And so I have been very diligent about trying to tell myself I am capable of making these products. I'm knowledgeable, and so that's the next step. Make sure that you are building your own confidence. You don't need somebody else to build your confidence. You can build your own confidence. Just tell yourself every day, you can do this. And so going down the herbal path, one of the things that I have been incorporating more into my daily routine is drinking tea with a purpose. I've always drank tea. I was always very big on loose leaf teas. When my kids were little, their grandparents would give them tea, Like I said, we gave them tea when they weren't feeling good. But I never got the tea for a purpose, And so one of the things that I have learned, we all are familiar with lavender. We all are familiar with chamomile. And some of us might be familiar with lemon balm. And if you're not, you should do some research on lemon balm, because I was pleasantly surprised when I dug a little bit deeper into the medicinal properties of lemon balm. And so, but one thing when I was doing this, when I got all my materials for the herbalism classes that I'm taking, one of the things that really jumped out at me and surprised me, that is, I'm going to have to read it so I don't misspeak, because I do get nervous on camera and I do stumble over my words. And so I like to read things so that I can be sure I'm giving you the proper information. So one of the things that surprised me when I got my materials for this herbalism course that I'm taking was oats. Oats. I'm going to read this because I don't want to misspeak. Oats, the Latin name is Avena sativa, and the straw and the seeds are both a nutritive tonic for the nervous system. And so I was surprised by that, because I've never heard of oats for mental health. And another one that I've never really paid much attention to is the California poppy. But and so these are some things that I am learning to incorporate more into my daily routine to maybe help my mental the depression or anxiety or different things, just to kind of help set my mind straight. And so that's the third thing I would say is, find something that you're passionate about, whether it be herbs or meditation, yoga. Yoga has always been really good for me. But I do tend to stick with herbal remedies for anxiety and things like that, just because I don't have a good record with medications. And so, I'm pretty sensitive to any medicine, prescription, over the counter. If I take melatonin affects me for days. And so by using herbal remedies, I'm able to control the amount I'm taking, and I can play around with the different amounts so that I'm not giving myself too much or not enough. But I challenge you to find something that you're passionate about that can settle your mind. And again, it doesn't have to be herbal teas, but I do recommend, doing some research on herbal teas and medicinal teas. One of the things that I'm going to be doing on my website as I build this is putting up some recipes and things like that you can, follow along with and download so that you can make some herbal teas or you can make some remedies that might help you settle your mind. But anyways, yeah, I was very, very frustrated today and kind of thought that this might be a good topic because I know lots of people struggle like I do with insecurities and feeling their worth, and feeling like we're not smart enough, we're not good enough to do the things that we're doing. But I challenge you to find ways to be more positive to yourself and tell yourself it doesn't matter what that person that came into your store or came into your lane or bumped into you at the grocery store and made you feel at fault or inadequate in any way. But anyways, I challenge you to find ways to calm your brain and maybe read a book with a cup of hot tea. That's always good for me. I don't read books, I do Audible. That's one of the things that I've learned as I got older. I struggle to sit down and read a book, so I actually get anxiety for some reason. And I used to read, I would read a book in a day or two. I read, and then as I got older and developed these anxiety disorders, I couldn't sit down and read anymore. And so, to be honest, that's made it very hard in my careers because it involved going back to school. I went back to school to be a medical assistant, and then I went to some, schooling for a registered polysomnography tech. So I was a sleep tech that involved lots of reading and schooling, and now I'm back in school doing my herbalism, and so that involves a lot of reading, and I struggle so hard with sitting down and reading. So grab a cup of hot tea. If you need some, advice on some different herbs that might be beneficial to the nervous system, I'd love for you to reach out, and let me know, and I can give you some of my suggestions that I'm learning that help me to settle my brain. And my boys too. I have a couple of boys who struggle with a little bit of mental illness and bipolar disorder, and so their brains are constantly, going, and they use a lot of herbs too to kind of help them. So I would love to help anybody that I can with any of these things that we talk about. So feel free to reach out to me. I hope y'all have a great day, and we'll see you on the next video.